Hello, 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 everybody. I want to welcome you back to another episode of Weathering Autism. Thank you so much for joining me again today. We want to continue our series on MythBusters, and this is the third installation. And what we want to talk today about is autism and social issues. You probably could tell that by the title of today's episode. So we're going to talk about that when I come back. Stay tuned. So I opened up with the episode with a familiar theme song from a very popular television show, Friends. And I wanted to do that because when you think about social problems and social issues, you think about people who have trouble making friends. They have trouble responding to people and interacting with people. And so that's what we think about when we think about kids with or adults with autism, that they don't want friends, that they don't want to be social, that they love being by themselves. And certainly they show some of those behaviors, but it's not necessarily in a lot of cases because they want to. It's because many times, many of them have issues and they have trouble interacting with people. They don't know how to interact. There's an awkwardness, there's an inability, there's communication issues, and we talked about that a lot. And so anybody, if you have issues with communication, you're going to have trouble making connections with people, but that doesn't mean that they don't want to make those connections.
Like most 25-year-olds, Joey Juarez likes to look his best when going out with friends, but because he has autism, social situations can be awkward, so many times he'd avoid them.
I was feeling lonely.
But that was before he attended a course at UCLA's Scheflen Institute for Neuroscience and Human Behavior. It's a 16-week class that teaches students with autism how to interact in social situations and even how to date.
Most adults on the autism spectrum really want to have friends and really want to have romantic relationships, but they don't know how to.
The course was developed at UCLA and is the only one of its kind that has clinical research to show it's working. In a recent study, researchers charted the progress of students in the program and found significant social improvement.
What we found was not only an improvement in overall social skills, particularly in the areas of cooperation and assertion, but also a decrease in autism symptoms.
The program, called Peers, also teaches parents how to coach their young adult children in social situations. Researchers also created a book and an app with tips on social interactions that anyone can use.
And now that we have this knowledge, and I continue being his coach, it's really made my life a lot easier as a parent too.
Oh, thank you, Monica. That's really sweet.
Joey now enjoys attending parties and feels more confident than ever before.
They taught me how to make and keep friends. Of course, there's many aspects that go into that.
At UCLA's Scheflen Institute for Neuroscience and Human Behavior, this is Powell reporting.
Many autistic people, if you can find a way to communicate with them, if you can kind of bridge that communication gap, you'll find that they're very friendly and just love people. It's just, again, there's that frustration, that inability to really make connections with people because of the communication and the emotional issues that are going on in their lives. Some of the most friendly people that I ever met were people that are on the spectrum and have had autism. Some of the sweetest and kindest people are people with autism. And so it is a great myth to say that they don't want people. They're just satisfied being alone. And I have to admit something and be transparent. This is one that I really bought into, even with my own son, because he just seems so content being in his own corner and doing his own thing. And it wasn't that that's where he wanted to be all the time. It's just where he felt the most comfortable because he had issues with making connections with people. But over the years, as I tried to come and to see things from his perspective, or I would try to interact with him on a level in which he could understand, there was great communication and just a great connection between us. And so I'm grateful that my eyes have been open to understand that this is not the way it is. It's not the way it always is. It wasn't, things were not as they appeared to be. And so people with autism, they do want oftentimes to have friends and to be friendly. They just don't know how. And just like with everything else, they need to be taught. They need to be shown how to communicate and connect with people. And that's children as well as adults.
It is very important to work on the social skills with children with autism. Many of these children have difficulty with how to initiate conversations, how to maintain conversations, how to have a friend and and go on a play date and be able to have fun. So it's really important to have your child in a social skills group where they're learning these skills, because you want your child to have friends and know how to have a conversation. Many children with autism often have difficulty maintaining conversations, or they might jump to a different topic and it looks like they're not interested in what the other person is saying. So you want to teach them, how can you have a conversation? What does it mean to be a friend? Also, even going into things like bullying. A lot of the kids with autism do get bullied, and you want them to go to a place where they practice identifying what a bully is and how they can deal with it if that happens to them.
And so whether we're parents or there's someone a family that has an autistic child, or there's an autistic adult your age, and you want to friend them, then I would encourage you, make the first step. Try to understand, see what they're into. What do they like to do? What are the things that they engage in? And then, come and meet them at that point. And then you'll find that you'll have a great friend and a person with autism. It just takes, again, one of my favorite words, a lot of understanding for us. And for moms of children with autism, this is something we need to understand, that we need to find out how to engage with our children. Because they are just like any other child. They want that interaction. They need that interaction with us. And so that's an important piece to be able to live in life, for our children to be able to engage other people. And so that's what we need to do.
The programs I'm most comfortable with are those that work with natural settings and natural contexts, building relationships, motivating children to interact. Social should be fun. For all of us, social is fun. That's why we do it. A teacher turns her back on a classroom, and the one thing you can count on kids doing is being social. Now, they're not being social because it's aversive. They're being social because it's fun. I would think that that would be a premise for teaching social to any child. And I become concerned when I observe an intervention geared at helping a child, or with the promise that this will help your child become more social, where I see a child who seems to be in distress, or a instructional format that is so structured that you'd never see it in any classroom or any other context. I would look for a program that has strategies and ideas for helping students identify and regulate their own emotions. We know that that's a challenge for a lot of the students that we work with. I'd look for a program that involves parents in the process as team members. Does this program look at my child as a whole and as part of this family? Trust yourself. Keep asking yourself, am I really comfortable with what I'm seeing? And am I comfortable with this particular program? If a parent's not comfortable with a program, it's not going to work.
I want to end today's show today with an inspirational moment. And today the quote is from evangelist Billy Graham. And his quote is, "The will of God will not take you where the grace of God cannot sustain you." And for us, those of us who are raising children with autism, God willed us to have these children. And I know for many of you it's very difficult. Just today I was reading through a feed from a woman who's raising a very aggressive child, only 6 years old, and doesn't know what to do, and is at her wit's end, and is looking for advice and help. And it feels like she doesn't have enough strength. But I would tell her, as I would tell anyone else who's watching, if the will of God put you here, He gave you that child, the grace of God, which is also the strength of God, it will sustain you. I'm a living witness that if you put your trust in Him, and if you cry out to Him and say help, He will give you the grace and the strength to make it through this. And so I just want to encourage you with that. Well, until next time, thank you again for tuning into Weathering Autism. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye. Have a great one.